Hello guys, welcome to MJ Real Stories channel. And tonight we are stepping into a moment that shocked the world. It is so emotional and so close to the truth of fame, ego, silence, and unexpected grace. The stage lights were blinding that night, the kind that make everything look larger than life and smaller at the same time. The audience was packed with celebrities, journalists, industry giants, and millions watching live around the world. It was one of those award shows where every smile is practiced and every word is measured, yet emotions still find a way to leak through the cracks. Mariah Carey walked onto the stage wearing confidence like armor, applause roaring behind her, the orchestra fading as she stepped closer to the microphone. Her voice was calm, playful, even charming, but there was something sharp underneath it, something calculated. She thanked her fans, her team, the industry, and then, with a slight pause and a smirk that cameras immediately zoomed in on, she made a comment that made the room shift in its seats. She joked about people who once ruled the world but couldn't keep up with time, and then added a line about a king who forgot his crown belongs to the people now. She didn't say a name, but she didn't have to. Everyone knew. The camera cut to Michael Jackson sitting quietly in the audience, dressed in black, his face calm, unreadable, eyes reflecting the stage lights like distant stars. A wave of whispers rolled through the hall. Some people laughed nervously, others gasped, some pretended not to understand. Michael didn't move. He didn't smile, didn't frown, didn't react the way the tabloids would have loved him to. Inside, though, something stirred. Not anger, not pride, but a familiar ache. That ache of being misunderstood, of being reduced to a headline, of being spoken about instead of spoken to. Mariah continued, brushing it off as humor, ending her speech with confidence, waving to the crowd as applause followed her off the stage. But the applause felt different now, thinner, uncertain, as if the audience wasn't sure what they had just clapped for. Backstage, the air was tense. Producers whispered into headsets, managers exchanged looks, journalists typed furiously. Michael's team surrounded him, some furious, some worried, all asking the same silent question. Will he respond? Michael stood up slowly, his movements gentle, almost fragile, yet carrying a quiet authority. He told his team he wanted to go backstage, not to confront, not to fight, but to breathe. As he walked through the narrow corridors, memories followed him like shadows. Years of love, years of betrayal, applause turning into criticism, admiration turning into suspicion. He remembered being a child, standing on stage just wanting to sing, to make people feel something beautiful. He remembered believing music could protect him. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. Mariah was in her dressing room, laughter echoing as her friends congratulated her, praising her confidence, her boldness. Yet when the door closed and the noise faded, a strange silence settled in. She sat down in front of the mirror, looking at her reflection, the makeup flawless, the smile slowly fading. She told herself it was just a joke, that this was how the industry worked, that strong moments came from strong words. Still, something didn't feel right. A knock came at the door. Her assistant opened it and froze. Michael Jackson was standing there. The room went silent. Michael didn't enter immediately. He simply stood there, eyes gentle, voice soft when he finally spoke. He said her name like it mattered, not sarcastic, not angry, just calm. Mariah stood up, suddenly unsure of herself, the confidence from the stage evaporating under the weight of his presence. He told her he liked her music, that he respected her voice, that he believed artists should lift each other, not step on each other to be seen. His words weren't accusations, they were confessions. He spoke about how words on a stage echo longer than we think, how jokes become knives when repeated enough times, how silence can sometimes be louder than any response. Mariah felt something crack inside her. She had expected drama, anger, maybe even a public scene she could later spin into headlines. Instead, she was faced with a man who looked tired, wounded, yet still kind. She tried to explain herself, saying it was just humor, that she didn't mean harm, that the pressure of being relevant makes people say things they don't fully mean. Michael listened. He always listened more than he spoke. He nodded, not dismissing her words, not fully accepting them either. He told her that the world already had enough cruelty, and that artists had a choice every time they stepped onto a stage, to heal or to hurt. That night, something unexpected happened. Mariah asked him how he did it, how he stayed quiet when everyone wanted a reaction, how he survived being the most loved and the most criticized at the same time. Michael smiled, a sad smile, and said he didn't always survive it, that sometimes it hurt more than he let on, that sometimes he cried alone where no one could see. He said he kept going because of the people who still believed, the children who still danced to his songs, the fans who wrote letters saying his music saved them. Fame, he said, was loud, but truth was quiet. Word of their backstage meeting leaked, of course. It always did. But the story that reached the public wasn't what anyone expected. Instead of a feud, instead of insults and clapbacks, there was silence. No tweets, no interviews attacking each other, no headlines screaming war. A few days later, Mariah appeared at another event. This time, her speech was different. She spoke about respect, about legends who paved the way, about learning humility in an industry that rewards arrogance. She didn't mention Michael by name, but again, she didn't have to. The message was clear. Michael watched from home, surrounded by his children, the television glow soft in the room. He didn't smile widely. He just nodded, feeling a small sense of peace. He knew the world would still talk, still judge, still speculate. But for once the story wasn't about scandal. It was about growth, about choosing empathy over ego. Years later, fans would argue online about what really happened, some claiming Mariah had tried to insult him, others saying it was all misunderstood, some insisting there was secret drama hidden from the public. But in this fictional moment, the truth lived quietly between two artists who crossed paths at a dangerous intersection of fame and vulnerability. It lived in a hallway conversation that cameras didn't catch, in words spoken without an audience, in respect that replaced rivalry. Michael continued to create, to dream, to struggle, to inspire. Mariah continued to sing, to evolve, to carry the lesson of that night in her voice. And somewhere in the noise of the industry, a reminder remained that greatness isn't proven by who you diminish, but by who you uplift. That sometimes the strongest response to an insult is compassion. That legends don't need to defend their crowns because their legacy speaks when they choose not to. And as fans, as listeners, as humans watching these stories unfold, we are left with a choice too. To chase drama or to listen for the quieter moments where real humanity shows itself, because behind every spotlight is a person and behind every joke is a consequence. This fictional story may never have happened on a real stage, but its truth echoes in every arena where words are used as weapons and silence becomes strength. And maybe, just maybe, if more moments like this existed, the world would be a little softer, a little kinder, and a little more worthy of the music we love. Thanks for watching.